Haemon is Creon's son, and he's betrothed to Antigone. And basically he has to fight. He's sort of in between his father Creon and his wife-to-be Antigone, and fighting to stay on both of their sides and not lose either of them, and not doing very well at it.
In burying her brother, who was killed in action, she did something most people consider decent and honourable. Rather than leaving him naked on the battlefield for the dogs to tear at her and the kites and scavengers to pick to the bone, she should be given a medal for it. Those same people say. And her name inscribed on the roll of honour. Such things are whispered in secret, Father, and they have reached my ears. Sir, your reputation matters to me as much as your good health, and happiness do. Indeed, your good name matters more. So let me beg you to have second thoughts and not be certain that your own opinion is the only right one and that all men share it.
Clearly, they, together with Ismene, represent a different generation to Creon and a future and a kind of hope for this country. And you think when you see Haemon making those pleas to his father that he would be a great leader, like that together the two of them would be a kind of dream royal family, but it's never going to happen because of the inevitable consequences of what Creon does. So it's tricky because you don't have much time with them, but I think one has to imagine that they're a pretty great couple.
I reckon he likes her sort of, her spirit and her kind of, because Haemon's kind of very well brought up, very kind of, make mum and dad proud, and she has this kind of fiery, edgy spirit that I think Haemon finds unbearably attractive.
And in the darkest corner we saw her, strung up by the neck, hanging from an improvised rope of twisted linen strips torn from her own dress. Haemon was right beside her, clawing at the body as it dangled there, sobbing broken-heartedly at his wife's death and the marriage bad luck and his father's cruelty had made certain would never take place. When Creon saw them, he staggered into the cave, groaning like an animal, and sobbed aloud, "My boy, my poor boy, what have you done? Then have you gone mad coming here? There's nothing here for you but death and annihilation and despair. Come away from here, my boy. Come out, for God's sake, I'm begging you, come away." But the boy just looked at him, and his eyes were terrifying, and without a word, he spat in his father's face, drew his sword and lunged straight for your husband, but Creon was quick and skipped out of distance, and the poor lad, hysterical with grief and self-disgust, held the sword at arm's length and plunged it between his own ribs.
Working backwards from the end, you think this is a kind of great image of sacrifice and love, that they end up, dying together, locked in this cave, essentially. But we don't see, you get very little of that.
We're not seen on stage together. We don't have any, in this version anyway, we don't have any stage time. But I think it's one of passion and very intense, I think. And maybe one that's not conventional in a way. It's sort of quite a desperate kind of, how they end up fighting for each other is so desperate, and so it's like they can't live without each other.